Question 1. What historical event is commemorated by Guy Fawkes Night? A. The signing of the Magna Carta. B. The restoration of the monarchy. C. The Gunpowder Plot. D. The Battle of Britain. Answer. C. The Gunpowder Plot. Guy Fawkes Night marks the anniversary of the failed Gunpowder Plot of November 5, 1605, when Guy Fawkes and a group of conspirators attempted to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Question 2. Which document, sealed in 1215, outlined basic rights and freedoms of the populace? A. The Bill of Rights. B. The Domesday Book. C. The Charter of the Forest. D. The Magna Carta. Answer. D. The Magna Carta. Sealed in 1215, the Magna Carta is famous for making the king subject to the law and guaranteeing rights and freedoms for the populace. Question 3. What is the main principle of British life discussed in the Citizenship Pledge? A. Democracy. B. Monarchy. C. Freedom of speech. D. Rule of law. Answer. D. Rule of law. The main principle discussed in the Citizenship Pledge is the rule of law, which underscores the importance of law in governing society. Question 4. Who is the patron saint of Scotland, and on what date is his feast day? A. Saint Andrew, November 30. B. Saint David, March 1. C. Saint George, April 23. D. Saint Patrick, March 17. Answer. A. Saint Andrew, November 30. Saint Andrew is the patron saint of Scotland, and his feast day is celebrated on November 30. Question 5. Describe the process by which a bill becomes law in the United Kingdom. A. Royal assent only. B. Debate in the House of Lords only. C. Approval by the House of Commons and House of Lords, then royal assent. D. Public referendum, then royal assent. Answer. C. Approval by the House of Commons and House of Lords, then royal assent. A bill becomes law after it is approved by both the House of Commons and the House of Lords, and receives royal assent from the monarch. Question 6. Who was the Prime Minister of the UK during the Second World War? A. Winston Churchill. B. Neville Chamberlain. C. Clement Attlee. D. Margaret Thatcher. Answer. A. Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was the Prime Minister of the UK during the most critical period of the Second World War. Question 7. What battle in 1314 was a significant victory for Scots under Robert the Bruce? A. The Battle of Agincourt. B. The Battle of Stirling Bridge. C. The Battle of Bannockburn. D. The Battle of Falkirk. Answer. C. The Battle of Bannockburn. The Battle of Bannockburn in 1314 was a significant victory for the Scots under Robert the Bruce against the English. Question 8. Which monarch established the Church of England? A. Henry VIII. B. Elizabeth I. C. James I. D. Charles II. Answer. A. Henry VIII. King Henry VIII established the Church of England in 1534 after his split with the Roman Catholic Church. Question 9. During which years did the Victorian era occur? A. 1714-1830. B. 1837-1901. C. 1901-1910. D. 1485-1603. Answer. B. 1837-1901. The Victorian era spanned from 1837, when Queen Victoria ascended the throne to her death in 1901. Question 10. What is the significance of the Magna Carta in English history? A. It ended the English Civil War. B. It outlined the rights to a trial by jury. C. It established the feudal system. D. It was the first document to challenge the authority of the king. Answer: D. It was the first document to challenge the authority of the king. The Magna Carta is significant because it limited the power of the monarch and established legal rights for the first time. Question 11. What are the constituent countries of the United Kingdom? A. England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. B. England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. C. England, Wales, Brittany, Cornwall. D. Great Britain, Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland. Answer: A. England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. The United Kingdom is comprised of 4 constituent countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Question 12. How often are general elections held in the UK? A. Every 4 years. B. Every 5 years. C. When the Prime Minister calls one. D. Every 3 years. Answer: B. Every 5 years. General elections in the UK are typically held every 5 years unless called earlier. Question 13. What are the reserved powers of the Scottish Parliament? A. Education and health. B. Defence and foreign affairs. C. Taxation and welfare. D. Transportation and agriculture. Answer: B. Defence and foreign affairs. The reserved powers that remain with the UK Parliament include defence and foreign affairs, among others. Question 14. What was the purpose of the Emancipation Act of 1833? A. To grant the vote to all men and women. B. To abolish serfdom. C. To abolish slavery throughout the British Empire. D. To allow freedom of religion. Answer: C. To abolish slavery throughout the British Empire. The Emancipation Act of 1833 was enacted to abolish slavery across the British Empire. Question 15. What is the role of the Speaker in the House of Commons? A. To represent the ruling party. B. To preside over debates and maintain order. C. To vote on legislation. D. To appoint committee members. Answer: B. To preside over debates and maintain order. The Speaker of the House of Commons presides over debates, ensuring proceedings are conducted in an orderly manner. Question 16. What are the main responsibilities of the Secretary of State for Defence? A. To manage healthcare. B. To oversee education policies. C. To manage the armed forces and ensure national security. D. To control immigration. Answer: C. To manage the armed forces and ensure national security. The Secretary of State for Defence is responsible for the management of the armed forces and national security. Question 17. Name the first woman to be appointed as the Prime Minister of the UK. A. Theresa May. B. Margaret Thatcher. C. Angela Merkel. D. Elizabeth II. Answer: B. Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher was the first woman to hold the office of Prime Minister in the UK, serving from 1979 to 1990. Question 18. What are the home nations in terms of international sports? A. England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. B. England, Ireland, Isle of Man, Channel Islands. C. Great Britain, Ireland, France, Belgium. D. United Kingdom, Republic of Ireland, France, Germany. Answer: A. England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. In international sports, the home nations refer to the 4 countries of the United Kingdom that compete separately in events such as rugby and football. Question 19. Who was responsible for the establishment of the welfare state? A. Winston Churchill. B. Margaret Thatcher. C. Clement Attlee. D. Tony Blair. Answer: C. Clement Attlee. Clement Attlee, who was Prime Minister after World War II, is credited with laying the foundations of the modern welfare state in the UK. Question 20. What treaty led to the formation of the United Kingdom in 1707? A. The Treaty of Paris. B. The Treaty of Versailles. C. The Treaty of Union. D. The Treaty of Rome. Answer: C. The Treaty of Union. The Treaty of Union in 1707 led to the formation of the United Kingdom of Great Britain by uniting the kingdoms of England and Scotland. Question 21. Describe the significance of the Battle of Britain in 1940. A. It marked the first successful invasion of Britain in over 1,000 years. B. It was the first major military campaign fought entirely by air forces. C. It led to the British monarchy's relocation to Canada. D. It was the last battle of the World War I. Answer: B. It was the first major military campaign fought entirely by air forces. The Battle of Britain in 1940 was significant as it was the first major military campaign fought entirely by air forces and marked a turning point in the Allies' favour during World War II. Question 22. What is the minimum voting age in the United Kingdom? A. 16. B. 18. C. 21. D. 25. Answer: B. 18. The minimum voting age in the United Kingdom is 18 years old for most elections. Question 23. How does the UK's judicial system work in terms of hierarchy? A. The Supreme Court is the only court. B. Local tribunals are at the top of the hierarchy. C. The Supreme Court, followed by courts of appeal and then lower courts. D. The House of Lords serves as the highest court. Answer: C. The Supreme Court, followed by courts of appeal and then lower courts. The UK's judicial system is organised with the Supreme Court at the top, followed by the courts of appeal, and then lower courts like the High Court and Crown Courts. Question 24. What was the Great Reform Act of 1832, and why was it significant? A. It granted voting rights to women. B. It abolished the slave trade in the British Empire. C. It introduced wide-ranging changes to the electoral system of England and Wales. D. It established the Conservative Party. Answer: C. It introduced wide-ranging changes to the electoral system of England and Wales. The Great Reform Act of 1832 was significant because it reformed the electoral system by increasing the electorate for the House of Commons and removing certain corrupt practices. Question 25. Who is known as the Bard of Avon, and why is he significant in British culture? A. Christopher Marlowe. B. William Shakespeare. C. Charles Dickens. D. Geoffrey Chaucer. Answer: B. William Shakespeare. Known as the Bard of Avon, William Shakespeare is significant in British culture for his profound impact on English literature and drama with his plays and poems. Question 26. What are the main political parties in the United Kingdom? A. The Labour Party and the Conservative Party. B. The Green Party and the Liberal Democrats. C. The Brexit Party and the UK Independence Party. D. All of the above. Answer D. All of the above. The main political parties in the United Kingdom include the Labour Party, the Conservative Party, the Liberal Democrats, the Green Party, the Brexit Party, and the UK Independence Party. Question 27. How is the Prime Minister of the UK chosen? A. Direct election by the public. B. Appointment by the monarch. C. Leader of the majority party in the House of Commons. D. Selected by the House of Lords. Answer C. Leader of the majority party in the House of Commons. The Prime Minister of the UK is typically the leader of the political party that has the most seats in the House of Commons after a general election. Question 28. What event in 1066 significantly changed the course of English history? A. The signing of the Magna Carta. B. The Black Death. C. The Norman Conquest. D. The English Civil War. Answer C. The Norman Conquest. The event in 1066 that significantly changed the course of English history was the Norman Conquest, where William the Conqueror invaded England and became king. Question 29. What does the royal assent signify in the legislative process? A. Approval by the House of Lords. B. Final approval by the monarch to a bill. C. Initial approval by the House of Commons. D. Public endorsement through a referendum. Answer B. Final approval by the monarch to a bill. Royal assent signifies the final approval by the monarch to a bill passed by both Houses of Parliament, after which the bill becomes law. Question 30. Who was the longest reigning monarch prior to Queen Elizabeth II? A. King George III. B. Queen Victoria. C. King Henry VIII. D. Queen Anne. Answer B. Queen Victoria. Prior to Queen Elizabeth II, Queen Victoria was the longest reigning monarch, serving from 1837 to 1901. Question 31. What rights are protected under the Human Rights Act 1998? A. The right to privacy and a fair trial. B. The right to vote and stand in elections. C. The right to government housing. D. The right to free health care. Answer A. The right to privacy and a fair trial. The Human Rights Act 1998 protects several fundamental rights, including the right to privacy and the right to a fair trial, among others. Question 32. What was the Gunpowder Plot and who was involved? A. A plot to overthrow King Charles II led by Oliver Cromwell. B. A plot to blow up the Houses of Parliament led by Guy Fawkes. C. A plot to assassinate Queen Elizabeth I led by Sir Walter Raleigh. D. A plot to establish a republic led by Thomas Paine. Answer B. A plot to blow up the Houses of Parliament led by Guy Fawkes. The Gunpowder Plot of 1605 was a failed attempt by Guy Fawkes and other conspirators to destroy the Houses of Parliament to end the persecution of Roman Catholics by the English government. Question 33. Explain the significance of the Good Friday Agreement. A. It ended the War of the Roses. B. It marked the beginning of the British Empire. C. It established the Commonwealth of Nations. D. It was a major peace agreement that ended the conflict in Northern Ireland. Answer D. It was a major peace agreement that ended the conflict in Northern Ireland. The Good Friday Agreement, signed in 1998, was significant as it helped to end decades of conflict in Northern Ireland and established a devolved government. Question 34. What does the term suffrage refer to in British history? A. The right to own property. B. The right to fair wages. C. The right to vote. D. The right to public speech. Answer: C. The right to vote. In British history, suffrage specifically refers to the right to vote in public elections. Question 35. What role does the monarch play in the UK government today? A. Head of government. B. Ceremonial role with no executive powers. C. Direct control with the military. D. Chief legislator. Answer: B. Ceremonial role with no executive powers. Today, the monarch's role in the UK government is largely ceremonial, with no direct executive powers in the governance of the country. Question 36. How did the Industrial Revolution affect Britain? A. It led to a decrease in urban populations. B. It caused a decline in British global influence. C. It transformed Britain into the world's industrial leader. D. It ended British colonialism. Answer: C. It transformed Britain into the world's industrial leader. The Industrial Revolution, beginning in the late 18th century, had a profound effect on Britain, rapidly transforming it into the world's industrial leader and significantly altering its social, economic, and cultural landscape. Question 37. Name a landmark piece of legislation in the fight for gender equality in the UK. A. The Equal Pay Act 1970. B. The Magna Carta. C. The Education Act 1944. D. The Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. Answer: A. The Equal Pay Act 1970. A landmark piece of legislation in the fight for gender equality in the UK, the Equal Pay Act 1970 aimed to prevent discrimination in pay and conditions between men and women. Question 38. What are the key principles outlined in the NHS Constitution? A. Free healthcare at the point of use. B. Private healthcare for all. C. Healthcare based on insurance. D. Healthcare for employed citizens only. Answer: A. Free healthcare at the point of use. The NHS Constitution for England outlines several key principles, including providing a comprehensive service available to all and free healthcare at the point of use, based on clinical need, not the ability to pay. Question 39. Describe the contributions of Britain to the Allied victory in World War I. A. Britain provided the majority of naval support in the Pacific. B. Britain led diplomatic negotiations only. C. Britain was the principal financial backer of the Allies. D. Britain deployed extensive military and economic resources. Answer: D. Britain deployed extensive military and economic resources. Britain's contributions to the Allied victory in World War I included deploying extensive military resources on the Western Front, providing economic support, and maintaining a blockade that weakened the Central Powers. Question 40. What historical event is marked by Burns Night in Scotland? A. The end of the Jacobite Rising. B. The birth of Robert Burns. C. The signing of the Act of Union. D. The Battle of Culloden. Answer: B. The birth of Robert Burns. Burns Night is celebrated in Scotland on January 25 to mark the birth of Robert Burns, Scotland's most famous poet, who was born on this day in 1759. Question 41. How are members of the House of Lords selected? A. Elected by the public in general elections. B. Appointed by the Prime Minister. C. Inherited their positions or appointed. D. Selected by the House of Commons. Answer: C. Inherited their positions or appointed. Members of the House of Lords are not elected. They either inherit their position or are appointed by the monarch on the advice of the Prime Minister or the House of Lords Appointments Commission. Question 42. What principle does devolution refer to in the context of UK governance? A. The centralisation of power in Westminster. B. The transfer of power from older to younger generations. C. The distribution of powers from central government to regional bodies. D. The legal integration of the UK with the European Union. Answer. C. The distribution of powers from central government to regional bodies. Devolution in the UK refers to the distribution of powers and responsibilities from the central government to regional bodies like the Scottish Parliament, the Welsh Assembly, and the Northern Ireland Assembly. Question 43. What role did Britain play in the abolition of the slave trade? A. It was the last European country to abolish slavery. B. It led the global movement to abolish the slave trade. C. It opposed all forms of abolition. D. It focused solely on abolishing slavery within its own borders. Answer. B. It led the global movement to abolish the slave trade. Britain played a leading role in the abolition of the slave trade, enacting the Slave Trade Act in 1807, which made it illegal to engage in the trade throughout the British Empire. Question 44. Who was the first female Speaker of the House of Commons? A. Margaret Thatcher. B. Theresa May. C. Betty Boothroyd. D. Angela Rayner. Answer. C. Betty Boothroyd. Betty Boothroyd was the first female Speaker of the House of Commons, serving from 1992 to 2000. Question 45. What is the significance of the Commonwealth to the UK? A. It is primarily a trade bloc. B. It represents the UK's political control over member countries. C. It is a partnership for economic and cultural exchange. D. It serves as the UK's military alliance. Answer. C. It is a partnership for economic and cultural exchange. The Commonwealth is a political association of 54 member states, most of them former territories of the British Empire, which promotes economic and cultural cooperation. Question 46. Describe the impact of the Black Death on medieval England. A. It led to the end of the feudal system. B. It caused a temporary increase in the population. C. It had little impact on the economy or society. D. It led to the establishment of the Church of England. Answer. A. It led to the end of the feudal system. The Black Death, which struck England in the mid-14th century, killed a large part of the population, leading to significant social and economic changes, including the weakening of the feudal system. Question 47. What are the responsibilities of the Home Secretary? A. Managing the economy. B. Overseeing foreign diplomacy. C. Domestic security and immigration. D. Education policy. Answer. C. Domestic security and immigration. The Home Secretary is responsible for the internal affairs of England and Wales, particularly in relation to security, police, and immigration matters. Question 48. What landmark decision is associated with the Beveridge Report? A. The introduction of the welfare state. B. The decision to join the European Union. C. The adoption of the gold standard. D. The privatization of national industries. Answer. A. The introduction of the welfare state. The Beveridge Report, published in 1942, led to the establishment of the welfare state in the UK with the creation of the National Health Service and other social insurance programs. Question 49. How are civil liberties protected in the UK? A. by the ruling party. B. Through the Human Rights Act 1998. C. Solely by the European Court of Human Rights. D. By private organizations. Answer: B. Through the Human Rights Act 1998. Civil liberties in the UK are protected under the Human Rights Act 1998, which incorporates the rights set out in the European Convention on Human Rights into domestic British law. Question 50. What was the main cause and outcome of the English Civil War? A. The overthrow of the monarchy by Oliver Cromwell. B. Religious disputes between Catholics and Protestants. C. A power struggle between the monarchy and Parliament. D. Economic disagreements between the north and south of England. Answer: C. A power struggle between the monarchy and Parliament. The English Civil War was primarily caused by a power struggle between King Charles I and Parliament, leading to the temporary overthrow of the monarchy and the establishment of a Commonwealth. Question 51. What reforms did the Glorious Revolution bring to England? A. It restored the monarchy. B. It introduced the concept of absolute monarchy. C. It established parliamentary supremacy over the monarchy. D. It separated church and state. Answer: C. It established parliamentary supremacy over the monarchy. The Glorious Revolution of 1688 established the constitutional monarchy, affirming parliamentary supremacy and leading to the passage of the Bill of Rights 1689. Question 52. What international organization did the UK help to found post-World War II? A. The League of Nations. B. The United Nations. C. The European Union. D. NATO. Answer: B. The United Nations. The United Kingdom was a founding member of the United Nations in 1945, an organization aimed at promoting international cooperation and preventing future conflicts. Question 53. Describe the British contributions to the discovery of DNA. A. Britain was the first to use DNA in criminal investigations. B. British scientists Watson and Crick discovered the double helix structure of DNA. C. British universities were the first to map the human genome. D. Britain funded the entire Human Genome Project. Answer: B. British scientists Watson and Crick discovered the double helix structure of DNA. Francis Crick and James Watson, working in Cambridge, were pivotal in the discovery of DNA's double helix structure in 1953. Question 54. What rights does the Freedom of Information Act grant to the public? A. The right to privacy in communications. B. The right to access information held by public authorities. C. The right to Internet access. D. The right to remain anonymous online. Answer: B. The right to access information held by public authorities. The Freedom of Information Act 2000 grants the public the right to access recorded information held by public authorities, promoting transparency. Question 55. What is the significance of Hadrian's Wall? A. It was built to mark the boundary of the Roman Empire in Britain. B. It was a defensive fortification against Viking invasions. C. It served as a trading post between the Romans and the Picts. D. It was built to celebrate Hadrian's victory over the Scots. Answer: A. It was built to mark the boundary of the Roman Empire in Britain. Hadrian's Wall was constructed under the orders of Emperor Hadrian in 122 AD as a defensive fortification in Roman Britain. Question 56. Who are the Picts and why are they significant in British history? A. A Celtic tribe that resisted Roman rule in England. B. Ancient settlers of Ireland who founded Dublin. C. A tribe in Scotland known for resisting Roman invasion. D. The early inhabitants of Wales who fought against the Anglo-Saxons. Answer: C. A tribe in Scotland known for resisting Roman invasion. The Picts were a group of Celtic-speaking peoples who lived in what is now Scotland and are significant for their resistance against Roman invasion and their distinctive cultural contributions to Scottish history. Question 57. What major change did the Act of Union 1707 bring about? A. It separated England from Scotland. B. It unified England and Scotland into a single sovereign state known as Great Britain. C. It granted independence to Wales and Northern Ireland. D. It established the Commonwealth. Answer: B. It unified England and Scotland into a single sovereign state known as Great Britain. The Act of Union 1707 merged the English and Scottish parliaments, forming the Kingdom of Great Britain. Question 58. What does the term Bill of Rights refer to in British history? A. A document that declared the rights of Parliament and limits on the monarch. B. The rights of citizens to form political parties. C. A list of rights for the colonies in America. D. The rights of workers to unionize. Answer: A. A document that declared the rights of Parliament and limits on the monarch. The Bill of Rights 1689 is a foundational document in British constitutional law outlining the rights of Parliament and setting limits on the powers of the monarch. Question 59. How does the UK Parliament ensure transparency in its proceedings? A. By holding closed sessions only. B. By broadcasting debates and publishing records online. C. By allowing only members of Parliament to attend sessions. D. By limiting public access to its sessions. Answer: B. By broadcasting debates and publishing records online. The UK Parliament promotes transparency by broadcasting its debates on television and the Internet and by publishing detailed records of its proceedings online. Question 60. What is the significance of the Chartist movement? A. It advocated for the abolition of the monarchy. B. It was a medieval group that sought to end feudalism. C. It campaigned for electoral reforms such as the secret ballot. D. It opposed the Industrial Revolution. Answer: C. It campaigned for electoral reforms such as the secret ballot. The Chartist movement was significant for its campaign in the 19th century to expand suffrage and bring about electoral reforms like the secret ballot, aiming to make the political system more democratic. Question 61. Describe the significance of Stonehenge to British cultural heritage. A. It was a Roman amphitheatre used for public events. B. It is a prehistoric monument believed to be used for religious rituals. C. It was a medieval castle built during the Norman conquest. D. It is a modern sculpture commemorating World War II. Answer: B. It is a prehistoric monument believed to be used for religious rituals. Stonehenge is significant to British cultural heritage as one of the most famous prehistoric monuments in the world, believed to have been used for religious and ceremonial purposes. Question 62. What are the implications of the UK having a constitutional monarchy? A. The monarch has absolute power over the government. B. The monarch's powers are ceremonial, and real power lies with Parliament. C. The monarchy can make decisions without parliamentary approval. D. The UK does not adhere to any constitution. Answer: B. The monarch's powers are ceremonial, and real power lies with Parliament. In the UK's constitutional monarchy, the monarch's role is largely symbolic, with real political power vested in elected bodies such as Parliament. Question 63. How did World War II impact the British Empire? A. It strengthened the British Empire's global presence. B. It had little to no impact on the British Empire. C. It led to significant territorial expansions. D. It accelerated the process of decolonization. Answer: D. It accelerated the process of decolonization. World War II had a profound impact on the British Empire, leading to economic strain and the rise of nationalist movements in various colonies, which accelerated the process of decolonization. Question 64. What legal rights are associated with the freedom of the press? A. The right to publish government secrets. B. The right to publish without censorship or restraint. C. The right to privacy for journalists. D. The right to restrict others from publishing. Answer: B. The right to publish without censorship or restraint. The freedom of the press encompasses the right to publish ideas and information without government censorship or restraint, though it must be balanced against other rights and laws, such as libel. Question 65. What major social change occurred in Britain in the 1960s? A. The abolition of the monarchy. B. The beginning of the Industrial Revolution. C. The liberalization of laws on divorce, abortion, and homosexuality. D. The privatization of major industries. Answer: C. The liberalization of laws on divorce, abortion, and homosexuality. The 1960s in Britain were marked by significant social change, including the liberalization of laws concerning divorce, abortion, and homosexuality, reflecting a broader cultural shift towards greater social freedoms.